Facebook and free speech. That's what we're talking about on today's issue of Inside AB. I'm Eddie Taylor, and today I'm joined by Cheyenne Shakil. So Cheyenne, it's been a really controversial few weeks for Facebook, and we're facing the latest thing now, which is they've just kicked off controversial American DJ and talk show host Alex Jones for some fairly unhinged conspiracy theories. Now, we have to put this on record. We disagree about this. Yes. I think Facebook were perfectly within their rights, and you think no, you think free speech is at stake. Tell me why I am wrong.
Well, to be fair, I do think Facebook are within their rights. What I'm saying is maybe we should put pen down to paper and figure out why Alex Jones was wrong as opposed to relying on, well, everyone else thinks he is, so that's why we've got to kick him out. I think we need to figure out exactly what part of his speech was wrong. Because, I mean, if he was racist, that's protected speech. There's a lot of things that are protected. So why is he wrong?
Is it a case of wrong, or when you say we need to figure out, who's the we in this point? Is it its users? Is it the community? Is it journalists? Is it Facebook themselves? Who are you talking about that has this control?
Well, I mean, a lot of people think Facebook is a private company, but it's not private in any respect. I mean, it's obviously listed on the stock exchange, but even as an economic product, a provider of services, it's a public good company. I mean, everybody's vested in that interest. So the idea is, it's like, imagine you had houses around a lagoon. Nobody can block anyone else's access to the lagoon because that's the point of economic public goods. Does that make sense? I mean, if we were to block Alex Jones off of it, somebody could say, well, Eddie Taylor or Cheyenne Shakil should be off Facebook as well. We need to have defined policies as opposed to public opinion.
Yeah, but also this is a private company that's looking after the welfare and the well-being of its customers. I mean, I would actually argue this is less about politics or it's less about censorship. It's really more about PR. There's enough people that made a stink about this that Facebook responded to the desires of its customers, just as the Dubai Mall or Emirates would respond if there was a degree of customer complaint about somebody using their space. They would act upon it. I don't see that's any different in this case. I don't think scale is remotely relevant.
I think it is, because I think like what has happened is majority rule has come into effect, because a lot of people felt that Alex Jones was unhinged, and he was. I mean, I'm not saying that guy was at best great entertainment and that's it. He thought reptiles were in the White House, so of course he's mental. So, I mean, I definitely think he's crazy, but we need to put down and define why we think he should not, be on.
Okay, but we're
media.
talking about Facebook. We're not talking about the internet. He still has a platform. He still puts out his stuff on his own website. We're not talking about the internet. We're talking about one carrier of material on the internet, just as Emirates isn't the Open Skies Agreement. Mm-hmm. That's one private business operating in a public sphere. So I don't understand why they can't be the custodians of things that take place on their territory, if you like.
Because you don't win the fight. Imagine Alex Jones gets backed by some, the Koch brothers that supported Donald Trump's, rise to the presidency. And they create their own, conservative version of social media.
That would be fine, though. My point would be Facebook aren't in this for political bias. They're not doing this because they have an agenda. Mm-hmm. They're doing it because they're responding to speech that has resulted in either harassment or negative real-world consequences, i.e. the parents of Sandy Hook victims being actually harassed in real life because of stuff that they've put out on their platform. Surely they have a duty of care to the users of its platform to make sure that sort of hate speech or this kind of divisive rhetoric doesn't have a home for it.
Well, I mean, of course they do, but Facebook and all of social media doing what they're doing right now are really just looking after their own business self-interest.
Of course.
But social media is a global problem. It's an internet problem. The fake news crisis isn't restricted to what WhatsApp wants to do about it, or Facebook wants to do about it, or Twitter wants to do about it, or Snapchat wants to do something about it. I mean, this is the United Nations of the internet social media right now. They need to come up with a comprehensive idea, a legal definition of what is or is not allowed.
Listen, I think where I agree with you is I think that all of us, everybody that uses Twitter and contributes our time and content to Facebook and Instagram or whatever it is, we ourselves have given way too much power to too few people. And if we're arguing about the monopolistic tendencies of these big companies, I'm 100% with you. But I think that what I'm arguing against is the notion that Facebook has a duty of care to anybody other than its own consumers. If we don't like Facebook, we can leave it. Well, there are other platforms that we can operate on. There are other means that we can use on the internet to communicate with it. And I don't believe that Alex Jones is a hill that any free speech person wants to die on, because the guy is, as you say, he's a fringe lunatic. And I don't believe that Facebook needs or has a duty to put his kind of hateful stuff out there. And it should apply to way more people than Alex Jones, I have to say.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying definitely great idea with banning Alex Jones, but there's probably other people like Alex Jones who we maybe haven't heard of, who are less influential, who are still on there. If we could have like a dedicated policy around these sorts of people, none of them would exist. Daesh would not exist. ISIS would not exist. You know, we could clear the field.
Is that then a way that we're going to now migrate to, do you think?
I
There's
think
going
so,
to be
yeah.
stronger policing, and then there's going to be more terms of service. So what did you think about Twitter then, who just kind of said, nothing to do with us. If you don't like this material, that's your fault. You sort it out. You correct it.
Well, I mean, that's great for Jack Dorsey, right? I mean, Twitter can now claim to have the only USP in the social media verse. It says like, well, you can say anything you want on our platform. It's what Reddit tried to do, but had to back out of. It's a difficult place to go to, but it only works if you're the only one doing it.
In a weird way, I actually completely respect Twitter's opinion on it. I don't necessarily agree, but as you say, they just said, we created the platform. What you do with it, users, is your business. Now, then we get into inconsistency, because people have been banned from Twitter for crimes that we don't even know, or for transgressions that we don't even know, or are poorly explained, yet we can still see hateful and racist and divisive rhetoric. So that's a bit of a grey area for me. But I actually, in a weird way, think if that's Twitter's policy, just live up to it. Same with Facebook. If you're going to police your own content, then police it, and don't leave yourself open to picking and choosing, because then you're leaving yourself open to accusations of agenda and bias and all the stuff that's pulling us apart in a political context right now.
Well, I think really what we're seeing right now is the beginning of the policing of, speech. Call it free speech. Some people might be anti it, against it, but in fact, on CEO Middle East, we did have a conversation with Theresa May's campaign manager and John Howard of Australia's campaign manager, Linton Crosby, and he said, "Oh, it's inevitable. I mean, there's things that you can't go out on the street and say. Why is it okay for you to say it on social media? So if people want a safe, a fertile community for conversation online, this is inevitable that it's going to happen. We just need to find the right ways to do it."
I think that's a very good place to leave it. Very, very good conversation, Shay. I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Inside AB, and if you are going to leave a comment, please make it respectful, because I'll be deleting it, so you have been warned. Thank you very much. Join us every day at 10 a.m. for more Inside AB.